there's an update that I want to talk about when it comes to Zebec, and even though nothing I say is financial advice, what is it? Even though we all already kind of know that when it comes to certain games that are upcoming in the NHL and as well as the NBA, Zebec is supposedly going to be appearing in some of those games. Like, for instance, we take a look at, again, November 10th, Vegas Golden Knights versus Florida Panthers, and as well as, again, November 10th, Milwaukee Bucks versus the Dallas Mavericks when it comes to the NBA, and the previous one was about the NHL. But I think something that is pretty interesting to me is that they made a post not too long ago talking about how they're also going to be placing some, radio ads when it comes to the same cities where the games will take place. So from what I can see, right, if we take a look at November 10th, when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights versus Florida Panthers, it's going to be in Las Vegas. So supposedly they're going to be also, basically kind of talking about it through the radio over there, and also supposedly in Dallas, where the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be against the Dallas Mavericks. So yeah, I find that pretty interesting. I mean, do they have to do that? Probably not really, I guess, but it's still a pretty cool touch nonetheless. Now, there's going to be more games though, right? And I already talked about them in my previous videos. But even besides that, I think this right here, it kind of showcases kind of the effort that Zebec is putting, because they didn't necessarily have to do that, but they're doing it anyway. So I do find it pretty interesting to me. Now, personally though, what is the effectiveness, I think, gonna be when it comes to, talking about this through the radio? Who knows? But personally for me, you know what? If they're at least putting the effort, I think it's a thought that counts. Now, when I take a look at ZBCN, I get it. It hasn't been doing the best in terms of the price, but I just haven't given up on the project because I just feel like they're still doing something. Now, when it comes to these, games in the NBA and as well as the NHL, do I think that it's really going to make Zebec the most known thing of all time? No, I don't think so, because I don't think that it's going to do that, but at the same time, it's still pretty impressive nonetheless. I mean, allegedly going to be appearing in 2 games in the NHL in the month of November. So this month, of course, right? And also 4 games in the NBA again in November. I find that pretty impressive nonetheless. It's kind of like showcasing that they're putting some effort there. And now some people might say, okay, this is not good timing because the price of ZBCN isn't doing the best and 10 cents is around a 31x from here. Totally understand that, but then at the same time, sometimes this type of stuff lays down, I think, the groundwork for what Zebec could be moving forward. Because let's face it, I think that when ZBCN had that pretty good kind of rally not too long ago, when 10 cents was around like an 11x from here, I would argue that the kind of attention and kind of the notoriety of Zebec is actually not as good as right now. And especially if they're going to be appearing in some games in the NBA and as well as the NHL, I think with that even sort of increase in kind of, I would say, recognizability when it comes to Zebec, it's going to be probably a lot more than back then. But some people may be wondering, okay, if that is hypothetically kind of the case, then why is the price of ZBCN actually way lower right now than before? Well, it's because I think generally speaking, altcoins are not doing the best. So yeah, that's the way to take a look at it. I mean, I get it. Sometimes people like to say, oh, not too long ago, there's around like, 80,000 holders when it comes to ZBCN. And with that many, why is the price doing this and all this type of stuff? Well, this altcoin space, sometimes a project could be doing really good fundamentally. It could be pretty well known, but if the space isn't doing the best, the price just simply isn't going to do anything despite the project sometimes being okay, so to speak, fundamentally. So to me, I'm just still staying patient because I felt like ZBCN was able to do what it did back then without this kind of stuff, right? Some people like to say, okay, they're doing things that are not important. Well, here's the thing. When it comes to a lot of projects out there, I feel like it's not really possible to have like this major update every single day, right? Like sometimes, these type of partnerships or sometimes what they're doing behind the scenes, sometimes it takes quite a while. So yes, the price isn't looking the best, and then sometimes the project doesn't have too much going on, but if the project is still updating, it's still something that I like because I know that there isn't going to be like a new partnership some cases like every single day, right? I just don't think sometimes that is a possibility. So I still haven't given up when it comes to Zebec, and granted, we've seen some projects out there, like an ICP, for instance, like a Filecoin, make a pretty okay recovery, even though ZBCN hasn't done that, but that is kind of like the exception, I think, to this space, considering that, altcoins are just generally not doing the best. Now, my point of view is this, though. I don't want to give up, even though I am not telling anyone to do anything. However, I just don't want to give up because I kind of like the Solana aspect when it comes to Zebec. I still like kind of the sort of narrative of Solana as a layer one blockchain. I haven't given up on that as well. And when I take a look at something like Zebec, again, even not too long ago, ZBCN, in terms of utility, was top 10 when it comes to Solana. I haven't forgotten about those moments. So, yeah, I just don't want to give up. And I think sometimes when the altcoin space does hypothetically better, sometimes people take a look back at stuff like this, right? What the project has done, what it's been able to accomplish. So overall, I just haven't given up when it comes to Zebec. And overall, I don't think that the markets that Zebec is focused on is necessarily like not good. Like I feel like there's still something hypothetically to kind of look forward there, at least personally for me. Like for instance, I take a look at AI, I take a look at, more specifically AI-based PayFi, RWAs, or should I say real world assets, payrolls and stuff like that. I feel like when it comes to Zebec, the stuff that it's focused on, I just don't think that the markets are not good. That's my point of view. Now, sometimes you like to say, oh, when is ZBCN gonna do its thing again and then not go down and all this? Well, I don't have the answer to that question because personally for me, all I can do is just stay patient, hold, and then just wait. That's it. It's like, for instance, if I just want to talk about, Zebec appearing on these, NHL and as well as NBA games, let's say I'm a fan of a basketball team, like let's say I really like the Milwaukee Bucks or the Dallas Mavericks. Let's say I'm watching in the stadium or in the arena, no matter how much I am a fan of a team, I can't control them winning or not, right? Like I can't do that. It's like, for instance, let's say I'm a fan of Zebec, right? I can't control it in any way. Like the only thing I can do is simply just be a fan and that's it. Like, I mean, I can't control that. It's like, let's say I watch the Super Bowl. Let's say, I like a team, right? I mean, I can't make them win. Like, I can't do that. Like, the only thing I can do is just stay patient and, whatever happens, happens. So when it comes to CBCN, that's just my mentality right there. That's what I did in the beginning. I was just a fan. I was just holding and, it had a pretty good rally. And then now there's a pullback, but I can't control anything when it comes to this. All I can do is just dollar cost average, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, hold, and I just wait. And that is what I'm doing. And I'm just waiting. That's it. Because I don't think I've seen an altcoin season. So I'm just still staying patient. I haven't given up. And that's pretty much about it. But I just wanted to make a video real quick talking about what Zebec is kind of planning to do in some of these, NHL as well as NBA games. They didn't talk about this radio stuff like back then. But, I find it pretty cool that they talked about this, at least not that I've heard of, right? But I'm just saying now that they talked about this, it is pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. I think it is, kind of putting a little bit more effort in a situation where a lot of people didn't really, I think, kind of expect that. But yeah, I just wanted to make that real quick. And again, if there is something else that is, going on when it comes to Zebec, if they do update, if they do talk about kind of the NBA and as well as the NHL. I'm going to be making updated videos when it comes to that. So hopefully y'all stay tuned for those videos. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I want to say thank you for watching. I hope y'all have a nice day. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch you on the next one. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.